Okay, so if you want to just go ahead and start with, what was going on in your life when you started with Redefined Yoga online.
Well, I had taken classes before at when you guys had the place in downtown Winter Garden. My husband and I both took classes there and we enjoyed it. But we're only here in the wintertime and we live in Michigan. And so then COVID hit and everything just kind of collapsed. And then you guys started the online yoga. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do that. And it was probably one of the best decisions I've made. Um, like most Americans, I was like, well, one day I'm going to get in shape and one day I'm going to really buckle down and get this done. And I just finally realized that one day better be right now or it's just not going to happen. And so I made the commitment to redefine yoga with the 12-week transformation.
Mhm.
And I've just never looked back. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Well, tell me, what are some of the benefits that you received, from that regular practice? You're consistent doing you do 4 yoga classes a week, even though the
Right.
minimum is 2 in our strength training. So what kind of benefits have you received from that?
Well, it's been interesting as I sat and I tried to list them all. So many that I never expected. I mean, I was kind of just looking to, stay flexible, try and stay young. I have this goal that I'm going to live till my 100. So I'm like, I better not, I don't want to do it in a wheelchair. So, I better get moving. And so I was just looking to stay flexible and get toned.
Mhm.
And those were my two goals. And all the side effects or benefits that have come from that have just been amazing. I was telling Brian at one time that I couldn't turn my head like this without hearing a pop. And it got to the point like I knew as soon as before I even turned my head, I was expecting to hear it. And that's totally gone. Um, and we also have a friend, my husband and I have a very close friend who has had a lot of neck issues and he can't move. He just like turns to
Mhm.
look at everything. And he's had back issues and surgeries and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. Um, so I just started working on that and that's been amazing. Um, other things that I've noticed is my core is tightening up. I'm starting to see a waistline again. Um, I was getting to the point where my left knee felt like it had like a big band over it. Like I couldn't really, it was like hard to move my knee like this. I'm like, I don't like that. And that's gone. As I was saying, I could sit crisscross applesauce, but my left knee always had to be on the outside. And
Mhm.
now I can sit the other way too, which is really nice. And just the flexibility of being able to move around. Oh, I had a toe on my right toe, my big toe was, I would guess it was arthritis was starting to develop. And so I couldn't really like have flexibility in that toe. And I had to watch what shoes I was wearing so there wasn't pressure pointing. And that's completely gone. I had an episode with plantar fasciitis that Brian walked me through, and I got rid of that relatively quickly. Um, I had, it was probably 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, that I noticed when I got out of bed in the morning, I would practically fall over. My ankles would just give out on me. I couldn't put any weight. And so when I went to the chiropractor, I was like, what's going on? And he looked at me and he goes, well, you're flat footed, your arch, you're no support. Your arches are falling. And so they set me up with some custom orthotics, which I wore religiously and made an incredible difference. Um, so that issue was gone. So, but when it was interesting, when I started the winter garden yoga, I had to come to class. I would wear my orthotics under my
I,
footies in class.
I
So everyone
remember
was
that. We had hoodies
barefoot.
just for you.
Everyone was barefoot and I got my footies on.
Yes, I
Because if
remember
I
that.
didn't have them on, by the end of the class, my feet hurt.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I had to wear them. And so now though, with the exercises that we've been doing, and I love the caterpillar crawl when you need to lengthen your stances, has really strengthened all of my arches and all of my feet. Where just last week I had a test done on my feet, like a footprint done, and they're like, "Oh, you have high arches."
Oh, wow. So it
I've gone
completely
from
reversed.
footed to high arches, so it's all good. So I
Yes.
can do yoga now 4 days a week. No footies.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Um,
you're an avid gardener as well, aren't you? And I know
I
you've
am.
mentioned how you're able to do gardening without your hip hurting and your back hurting after you're done. So
Yes.
tell me more about that.
Yeah, that whole bending at the waist
Hmm.
uh was just a killer for me. I had to go to the chiropractor on a regular basis because my hips would tilt out and the nerves going through your pelvic bone, which are your sciatica.
Hmm.
So they were always rubbing. So I had to have my hips put back. And now that's all gone. Uh Even when, like 25 years ago when my boys were at home, they had to do the vacuum cleaning for me because I couldn't
Wow.
do that motion of
Hmm.
vacuuming without throwing out my hips.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean that's been an absolute life changer for me. Like I just said, I was telling you earlier, I laid 35 bags of mulch yesterday in my garden. It was like a 2-hour rearward shift.
Hmm.
Um, but when I was all done, it was 2 hours of pruning and laying and spreading, and I was sore. But I think that was from Brian's workout earlier. But I wasn't in any pain.
Right.
And
Right.
so I can work in my garden now and just go about and enjoy the
Yeah.
rest of my day where I could never
You don't
do that.
have recovery time. You don't have to wait for the pain to go away and recover from
No pain
everything
at
you did.
all.
Yay.
It's been amazing. It's been life changing for me. Truly, it has.
Oh, so like it's so amazing to hear that. And it's like you said, it wasn't what you went into it for. It just you want to get flexible and strong, and then all these amazing side effects came from
Right.
getting
Right.
flexible and strong in a safe way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, the reason that I never did a lot of workouts is I don't like to sweat.
Hmm.
My husband, he'll go running and jogging, and he's not happy if he's not like a sweat ball when he gets back. And I'm just like, ooh, get
Hmm.
away from me. And I just never liked that. So I never wanted to do that kind of intense workout. And so to me, the strength training too is really incredible because you just use your own body resistance. You don't have to worry about hurting yourself using weights or going to the gym and doing all those repetitions. I notice that when I do my bike riding, um, which I haven't done in a while. I need to get back in. But in Winter Garden here, if you ride the trail, there's quite a few places where the hills are pretty steep.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was down in first gear, puffing, trying to get up to the top. And now, no problem.
Yay.
Uh, that's really been amazing to me. The first time that happened, I was like, wow, that's cool.
That's
But
awesome. So the fact that what you're doing with the yoga and the strength training, there sounds like there are things you can comply to, right? Because like you said, if you had to sweat and do all that exercise stuff and, like you were saying, would you have stuck with it for 2 years?
no,
Yeah.
never,
Yeah.
never in 100 years. No, I wouldn't have. And that's why I never did. And the other thing I have to tell you that I love about your classes, because when we did winter garden yoga in town, and then we went back home in Michigan, there's a yoga place right on the corner of our house. And so both my husband and I went there, and it wasn't my first attempt to like that place. But I thought, I know a little bit more about yoga now, maybe I can fit in. And I still hated it.
Yeah.
It was too crowded. The instructor just would say, okay, she'd just call off things. And it's like, if you already didn't know what you were doing, you were out of the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, halfway through the class, I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm just trying to remember what you guys taught me and doing my own thing because it was just a waste of time.
Hmm.
And it's like, yeah, that's why I never liked that place. I'm never going back. Um, but with Redefined Yoga, Brian and yourself are so good at instructions. And I have to say, even better than the teachers you had at your brick and mortar place, in terms of really getting to what it is you need to do, really drilling down. And, when we're holding a position that's, neck back, chin down, gut in, I mean, the whole thing. So it's like this whole mental check. You're not just doing triangle, you're doing everything. And that's, I think, is tremendous. And the fact that you allow for, okay, if that's not working for you, try this. So there's always modification. And as a newbie, you never feel like you can't do it. which I think is so encouraging to so many people. So
Ah,
I know I tell everybody I know, you guys, you need to do Redefined yoga.
thank
I wish
you.
more of them would listen to me, but I just think it's the greatest thing.
Thank you. And everything you're saying is why we do what we do. It's
Yeah,
exactly the reason why. And that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's
yeah,
awesome. I love
yeah,
it. What's the difference? Because I know you're a traveler and you also,
yes.
just because you live in a different state and you go back and forth. So what's the difference between us being online and the studio as far as that flexibility that you get from it?
Oh, well, it's everything. First of all, you don't have to travel to get there. You just, I mean, when you see me without my video on, it's because I didn't even bother to get out of my pajamas yet.
I understand.
Like, okay, and there's like all that, gotta look good in the gym pressure is gone
Yeah.
because no one's there but you and your computer. And it's great. Like, so we were on a cruise last week and you downloaded some videos for me for the week because we were pretty stingy and I didn't want to pay $30 a day to have Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
So I actually went to the gym on the ship hoping to do a workout, but there was another class going on that they charged $20 to
Mhm.
go to.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm waiting for them to be done. Then they went into something else. I'm like, okay, this isn't working. So I just went over, I stole the mat, took the mat up to my cabin. I had plenty of room in my cabin to do my exercises, and that's what I did for the whole week.
That's awesome.
So in the spring, we were on a cruise ship in Europe,
Mhm.
and we were 5 hour difference. So we'd get up in the morning, do all our sightseeing, whatever, come back in the afternoon before dinner. And it was, wow, 3:30, time for yoga. So I got to dive up yoga floating down the Danview.
That's
So
awesome. I love it.
that was really cool. So
Yeah,
that's what's really great about it. You can have, and if you don't want to do today's lesson, you can go in the vault and do whatever you want to do.
right. Go back to
So
one of your favorites.
yeah,
Yeah. Awesome.
there's no excuse not to do it.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's awesome. Good.
And I just figured at this point in my life, I'm worth at least 30 minutes a day.
Mhm. Yes. Yep.
So
Yep. And you're consistent. You have been consistent these last 2 years.
yeah,
How many classes do you do a week right now?
I do at least 4 classes.
Hmm.
On Friday, if I don't join yours, I'm trying to do my strength training.
Good.
Um, so,
Yeah. Awesome.
but I try to do at least 4.
Yeah.
And it's because I love it so much.
Right. You want to do it.
Which I never thought I would ever say about any kind of exercise.
Understand. I
So,
understand.
we get up, we try to do our walking in the morning. Of course, it's raining right now.
Yes.
It's been raining in Florida for the last 3 days. What gives? Um, but we do our walking first, and then I do my yoga, and then I start my day.
Yep. Yay. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your awesome testimony.
you're welcome.
It's really been a honor to hear all of these things, these wonderful benefits that you've gotten that weren't expected, through the
Right.
process. So
Yeah. It's
good.
been really great.
Yeah.
I,
Awesome.
I encourage everyone to join.
Thank
Really,
you.
I can't say enough good things about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We truly appreciate that.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yes.